Okay, welcome. In this screencast, what we're going to do is talk about how to get your My Documents folder from the network, the one that you've been probably using for years and years and years, how to get that onto your Google Drive. Been a lot of questions about that, and here's the reason that it's coming up now. There has been an update actually a couple of months ago to El Capitan, and really this is really designed more for the Mac users with the PC, because the PC has this seamless connection between your My Documents and your laptop. You're not going to have the same kind of issues, if you will, that Mac users will have. But if you have a Mac, you can tell what version iOS you are running. If you go up to the Apple in the top left and select that, and then you'll see this About This Mac. And if you select this, you will see, like on this one, it says version 10.11.4. That is the latest update. And here's what happens with Apple. I personally think it's a good thing. With Apple, you will start noticing that certain things will not work unless you're on the latest update. You know, with Microsoft, there are people still running XP, and the machine seems to be running fine. With Apple, they want the latest operating system to be on there. So what this boils down to is, if you're going to update, and the tech department will be putting out instructions for that, but if you're going to update, which you really need to OS X El Capitan, the 10.11.4, there's always a risk of losing things. There's always a risk whenever you update of losing what you have on your hard drive. And what we've noticed with some Mac users is they're not really sure how to completely use the My Documents folder, and so what they end up doing is saving a lot of stuff to the desktop. And so we thought this would be a good opportunity to get people to move over to Google Drive. And I will tell you, you really want to move over to Google Drive, especially if you're on a Mac. And so I'm going to show you how to do that. Couple of things though. The first one is you need to be running Google Chrome. You really need to have Google Chrome on your machine, and you can tell that by, if you see in the dock along the bottom, I have Google Chrome here, but it's because I've brought it into there. You can check any program that is on your Mac, going to Launchpad, opening that up and seeing if you have Google Chrome. If you don't, you're going to need to go through a process of getting Google Chrome onto your device. Okay, and I'm going to show you how to do that. Long story short, you cannot just go to Google Chrome and download it. Okay, what you need to do, and so this is for people who do not have Chrome on their device. If you have Chrome on your device, what I will do on the YouTube videos, I'll actually put a little, you might want to fast forward to this time to actually show you the process of clicking and dragging files across. So what you're going to want to do is go to Finder. It is that kind of two-faced person that is on the dock. And if you go to Finder and open that up and do Command K, okay, hit Command K. Once you're in Finder, Command K one time should bring up this Connect to Server box. With that Connect to Server box, I already have those server addresses that I use on a regular basis. The one you want to navigate to, or the one that you want to type in up here, is this smb://fs2/staff. You're going to either select that or type it in up here, and if you type it up here, go ahead and hit the plus. That will add it down here, so you won't have to do that every time. And then you're going to select Connect. And when you should get a window that looks similar to this. You are going to select all district, and then you're going to scroll down to a folder that says MacBook Pro's SOPs. Okay, and you're going to select that folder, and then nestled in there you will see this .dmg file that says Google Chrome.dmg. That is the Google Chrome browser. What you're going to do now, I'm only going to be able to do this next step. I'll show you what happens when you double click on that. It's going to open up this, and sometimes Mac, the first time that you install a program, some people will look at that and go, okay, what am I supposed to do? You actually select the Google Chrome icon and you drag it down into the applications folder. Okay, that should start the process of putting Google Chrome onto your device. It will not, I don't think it automatically puts it in your dock. Once it is downloaded, you're going to go to Launchpad and you're going to find Google Chrome wherever that is. And I'll just use this icon as an, I'll just use this icon as an example, the MindMup. You select that icon and you drag it down to the dock. And it's because my dock is full. There you go. Now you have that icon down there. Okay, and so that's what you're going to want to do with Google Chrome. Okay, the next part of this, which is now the people that already had Google Chrome are going to have fast forwarded and be to this spot. Okay, as we get started with this part of it, which is the actual how do you move stuff from your My Documents into Google Drive, I really want to stress something. It is our recommendation that you really don't use your My Documents folder anymore. And this is especially true if you have a Mac. Macs just do not play well with our Windows environment. With access to Google Drive, it is unlimited storage. It's much easier to get to. There's none of the Command K. There's not any going to Finder. But then what people always say is, but okay, that's all fine and dandy, but how do I get my stuff there? And so that's what this part is going to attempt to do. And I will tell you, it's a very easy process. And it's very easy, particularly if you have Chrome. Again, if you fast forwarded through the first part of it and then you're realizing I don't have Chrome, you really need to go back and get Chrome, because what Chrome allows you to do is some drag and dropping of folders that Safari doesn't allow for. So I have my Drive open here, and I think it's always good to start with Drive. And I want to go up here to Settings and the gear, select that, and then go down to Settings. And this right here, Convert Uploads, this is a really important line. Okay, what this means right now is if we go in a second here, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to take a folder from My Documents, and I'm going to click and drag it over into Google Drive. Because this is unchecked, it is going to bring everything over in the folder exactly in the format that it was in the My Documents folder. It is going to recreate that folder. It's going to, if it was a notebook file, it's going to be a notebook file. If it was a Word file, it's going to be Word. If it was PowerPoint, it's going to be PowerPoint. At first thought, you're going to say, oh, well, I definitely want to do that. But as the district uses Google products more and more, I think you will see more and more people and students and administrators who are using Google Docs rather than Word, and Google Slides rather than PowerPoint. So I have a couple of different ways of thinking about this. I think if you are nervous about, because if you, on the other hand, if you select this, what that's going to do, it's going to take everything in your My Documents folder that you have selected, and when you drag it into Google Drive, it is going to attempt to convert things. It's going to convert a Word document into a doc. It's going to convert a PowerPoint into a Google slide. Okay, I think kind of the best of both worlds is you do two clicking and draggings. In other words, you do one in which you bring in everything as it is. Okay, so let's start there. So I'm going to not check this box, and I'm going to do done. Now I'm going to use this test folder here because I've already imported everything in. So I'm going to use a test folder. Okay, you could create a folder, well, and I'll show you within test. And let me get rid of this. So what I'm going to do, or what I might do, is I want to go up here to new, and I say I want to do a new folder, and I want that new folder to be My Documents Original. So wherever you, let's say that you decide that you do not want to convert, make some kind of folder. It doesn't, this is a subfolder within my test folder. Somewhere in your Google Drive, you are going to do a new folder, and I would call it something like My Docs Original. You're going to do create. Okay, so I'm going to kind of move this to the side. I'm going to go down here to Finder, and some of you may have your documents over here to the side. I'm going to show you the process of doing Command K, because sometimes these you'll find out are dead links, which is another problem that Macs have in talking with the Windows system. Again, you'll see the list of servers that I have. Yours would be exactly like this one, except after the last / it would be your username. Okay, so that SMB : / FS1 / users / staff / you enter your username in. You're going to connect to that. It's going to ask you, now in this case, it's going to ask you to sign in because I just did this to make sure it was working and in the right order. I've already signed in, but you will need your network username and password. And now here is my documents folder. So if I open that up, here's everything I have in my documents folder. Okay. So what you could do, you got a couple of options here. You could, let me close this and close this. What you could do is take your whole documents folder, click and drag that, and put it into that My Docs Original. Now, I'm going to start that, but I want to give you a bit of a warning about this. That folder that I'm dragging across, I know is really large, like multiple gigs. That's going to take a long time. The other problem I have with just pulling the My Documents folder across, and I should say, if all you have are documents and you don't have videos and you don't have, probably not a big deal. You could probably go ahead and do that. It wouldn't take that long. Like I said, I may have 80 or 90 gig on there. I mean, it would take, it might take 2.5 days in order to move that across. One of the other problems with just literally moving across your My Documents folder into Google Drive is if it was disorganized in My Documents, it's going to also be disorganized when you move it over into your Drive. Okay, so I'm going to actually cancel this, and I'll show you the process. Here, I'm going to cancel this upload. I'm going to go in here and let's go back to test, and I'm just going to select a folder. So I'm going to open up My Documents, and I'm going to say I want this 2005-2006 PDO to be in here. I'm going to take it, and it's selecting, and you'll notice down here in the right, it still is doing My Documents. It didn't cancel that. I am going to go ahead and actually cancel that out so that it stops. And now what you're going to see is this 2005-2006 PDO. If I go into My Docs Original, it is there. When I open that up, you're going to notice it's 2 Word files. Okay? Now, that's how you go through. It is truly that easy, if you have Chrome, to go through and say, oh, I want to pull this. Well, that's going to be a big folder. This animated PowerPoint. Oh, I want to pull that across into this folder as well. And so there comes the animated PowerPoint, and you'll see this has some videos in it. So it would actually take a while, and you can go through and just pull your My Documents over into that folder. Okay, so I'm going to cancel this again. And I'm going to then say, let's go back to this test one, and I'm going to now go here, and I'm going to do New. And I'm going to do a new folder, and I'm going to say My Docs Converted. And you'll kind of see where I'm going here. This is one that it's, like I said, it's literally every document that you have in its original format. With these My Docs Converted, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back here to Settings. I'm going to select this. I'm going to now select or check mark Convert Uploaded Files to Google Docs Editor Format. And I'm going to do Done. And I just want to make sure okay, so I pulled across the 2005-2006. So I'm going to go here, and here's that same folder that I did under the original. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to move it into Converted. And this won't take very long. It's just a couple of original Word documents. Now I'm going to open this up, and you will see that within it, no longer is there the Word symbol. These are actually Google Docs. Okay, and so I think, you know, there are some people that they will just pull across and convert everything, because you can always reverse convert, if you will. You can always go from a Google Doc into a Word document. But if it does make you feel better, have a folder that is all your originals. That way you have everything, and then do one that is converted. A couple of pointers here, and I mentioned it before. If you think about if you've ever moved before, most people don't move and take everything in their house exactly where it was at and move it into a new house. Usually there's a cleaning out process. I would highly recommend in your My Doc folder, especially if you've been here. You know, I mean, I've been here 23 years in the district. There's going to be some things that don't even take the time to throw over into your Google Drive. I mean, the good thing is with Google Drive is it's unlimited storage, so it's not going to matter if you do, but you could use this as an opportunity to kind of clean house, if you will, and go through and get rid of those things that you don't need. And then what happens, once you have everything that you need and that you truly use on a regular basis in Google Drive, now you're not tied to that My Documents folder. I can go in here while I'm at home, and I can get to my Documents folder that before I had to make sure I had stuff at school. The other thing that I will mention, and I'm not a big fan of putting stuff on my desktop. I know there's some people right now going, okay, that's great, but I've got a whole pile of stuff on my desktop. The desktop works the same way. So if I want to take this screenshot, this just happens to be a screenshot, if I select that and move it into here, it uploads it. And so you're not going to just do it. You're going to make sure that you have everything off of your hard drive. I mean, any of these things that I want to do, here's another screenshot. I just pull that across, and now that is part of Google Drive. That's what you're going to want to do to really get away from that reliance on the My Documents and or your desktop. And then what happens is, from this point on, you really work within Drive. You know, you save a shortcut like I have up here. I select this, and now there's my Drive. And I want to go and say, oh, here's the 2015-2016 iPad distribution. I go there. If I want to go to, you know, Notability, and I want to have a new document, and this is where, you know, you get into the advantage of using Google Docs over Word. You can just start your Google Doc right there, and now you've got your word processor that you're using. It's automatically saving, it's automatically updating that Google Drive folder. So hopefully that helps a little bit. I know it was very fast. I know hopefully it was fairly straightforward. If you've got any questions, don't hesitate to send me an email. Don't hesitate to fill out a tech ticket if there's something that you need a little bit more help with. But hopefully we will start to see people get away from the My Documents folder and really start utilizing Google Drive.